On this episode of the Infowars News Blitz, a petition seeks to ban mandatory vaccination legislation. A Paul Joseph Watson video says there is no comparison between the chaplain murders and the terrorist attack in Copenhagen, and a magnitude 6.9 earthquake strikes just north of Fukushima. That and a lot more, so stay tuned. Okay, folks, first article of the day here, and it is an article written by Adam Salazar, and it is titled, White House Petition Seeks to Ban Mandatory Vaccination Legislation. Citizens attempt to preempt laws that would mandate forcible inoculation. A concerned citizen has launched a popular petition on the official White House website seeking a memorandum on legislation that could force Americans to obtain vaccinations. No human should be forced to be vaccinated against their will or personal or religious belief, reads the next petition text. I hope against making vaccinations of any kind mandatory. This includes forcing children to be vaccinated to attend public schools, activities, and daycare centers. This also includes adults working in the public and private sectors. The appeal is in response to a wave of vaccination hysteria that swept the nation following a highly publicized Disney World measles outbreak, which is called by the vaccine. It's called a vaccine as well, I might say too, which affected up to 9 people who allegedly contracted the disease via visitors from foreign countries. Or basically, to be honest with you, it goes on to say that basically, the White House has also prone to ignore partitions, which we all know. And, the debate shouldn't be about, but affecting vaccinations or the dangers of vaccinations. Express Infowars, Paul Joseph Watson. What it should be about is the chilling proceeding bringing by both the left and the right. That should be completely acceptable without question that the government has a right to forcibly mass medicate anyone against their will. And I agree with Paul Joseph Watson here, because that is stupid. I mean, basically, the inserts say it all. Read the inserts. I mean, I read the flu insert. It said it caused Guillain-Barré, narcolepsy, epilepsy, and the rest of and a whole bunch of stuff. And as Alex Jones said on his show, it said that it can actually kill you. I mean, and with this whole measles outbreak, basically, the people who are actually catching it are the ones that already took the shot. So why should I take a shot after you basically took the darn thing? I mean, you should be protected, right? Right? An article written by Paul Joseph Watson is titled PC Stupidity, Chaplain Murders versus Copenhagen Terror. Leftists seek refuge of political correctness to hide the threat of Islamic extremism. And I'm just going to play the video here for you here, so have a listen and judge for yourself.
When thousands of Muslims come out and protest, as they did last month, against Charlie Hebdo for publishing the cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, tacitly endorsing the Paris and Copenhagen terror attacks. All over the world, from Britain to Pakistan to India to Turkey to the Philippines, Muslims came out in their thousands, not to protest against the Charlie Hebdo killers, but to protest against Charlie Hebdo for publishing the cartoons, to demonstrate against free speech. So when people like Rupert Murdoch get in trouble for saying that Muslims aren't vocal enough in condemning these attacks, He was completely slaughtered by the politically correct obsessed left. Meanwhile, there was little or no condemnation whatsoever, again, of the thousands of Muslims who came out and protested against Charlie Hebdo, tacitly supporting the terrorist attack in Paris. And now what do we see in Copenhagen? Muslims honouring the terrorist by laying flowers in the place where he was shot dead by police. So no matter how much leftists try to bury this by scurrying into the refuge of PC idiocy, yes, Islamic extremism is a violent threat, and it's a threat to free speech. And you can't obfuscate that fact by drawing attention to the Chapel Hill murders, whether they were over a parking dispute or whether they were a hate crime. Unlike Charlie Hebdo and Copenhagen, it clearly wasn't an act of terror according to the very definition of terrorism. So why are we even talking about this? Why are we even drawing these parallels? When what we should be talking about is how our own governments helped the growth of ISIS and the growth of this attitude that led to the attacks in Paris and Copenhagen by destabilizing Iraq, Syria and Libya and allowing these jihadists to flood the region. What we should be talking about is how, in the aftermath of the Charlie Hebdo attacks, in the aftermath of world leaders and the whole Je suis Charlie narrative, France arrested dozens of people for hate speech and introduced laws which would restrict the free speech rights and liberties of both Muslims and non-Muslims.
Well, there you go. I don't need to say anything else, except for the fact that unless you're politically correct and obsessed moron, there's no comparison between Charlie Chaplin's murders and the terrorists in Copenhagen, as he said. There's no difference. Hey folks, this is the last article of the day here, and it's probably going to be it's another video, but it's probably going to be another short one. There was a 6-point... The article is titled Magnitude 6.9 Earthquake Strikes Just North of Fukushima. Earthquake remains witnesses of power plant crippled status. It was written by Joe Biggs. It was, I should say, shown by Joe Biggs, but I'll play it here as well.
Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com with some breaking news out of Japan. Now at 8:06 their time, a 6.9 magnitude earthquake went off the coast, and now they are warning people to evacuate.
We have breaking news for you. A magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck off the coast of Iwate Prefecture in northeastern Japan at 8:06 Japan time on Tuesday. The Japan Meteorological Agency is warning of a 1-meter tsunami.
This happened in Iwate, which is just north of Fukushima. People are warning all the residents along the coast to evacuate, get to higher ground immediately.
Anyone in that area should listen to local authorities and disaster management officials for information and instructions. JMA is calling on people in the area where the tsunami advisory is issued to leave coastal areas or riversides immediately.
They're expecting a tsunami to hit there anytime. This is huge, so continue to look for updates as this happens. This will be a developing story, and our hearts and prayers go out to the people in that area that could be affected by this huge tsunami.
Well, you already heard it there. I mean, for everyone who doesn't seem to remember, back in 2011, back in March, a earthquake hit Japan, followed by a tsunami. A lot of people died, and also the Fukushima Daiichi plant, actually 5 of its 6 reactors, if I can remember correctly, blew up, as in basically created fission, or I should say fusion, and basically blew up. And I agree with former Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs. Our hearts and prayers go out to those people and all those who have died in this tsunami earthquake, and I hope everybody got to safe ground as I am recording this. Well, that's all the articles I have for you today. If you'd like to read more about these articles, please go to the links below or go to Infowars.com or Blitznet.com. There you can find hundreds of articles just like this one I read for you today. This is Infowars Newsblitz. I'm Hazel Gundam, live from Phoenix Region number 3. Please like, subscribe, and donate. Bye-bye!